Okay, so good morning, everyone. How are you doing?
Morning.
Okay, so I hope you can hear me.
Good
Yes.
morning, sir.
Okay, yeah. Morning. Okay, so let's get started. So today we have a couple of updates on the group presentation, which will be starting from next week. We do have some updates and probably details on the project proposal, which is due on 16th of February, and then quiz one, assignment one. So I will be discussing them in probably in more details. Okay, so regarding group presentation, as I told you earlier, so there will be total 3 marks for the group presentation. So what we like you to basically present. So you will be having not more than 10 minutes. You need to, because we don't want too much technical details here. We just want to encourage you just to probably think out of the box, what kind of information retrieval system you have to build around you for the problem that you see in your society, or something that you can probably propose. So the idea is we would like you to propose an out of the box uh, information retrieval system, and it should be relevant to the IR somehow. So it is fine that the proposed system is not completely feasible to implement, because here we are not looking for the implementation. It is fine to probably just do use your imagination. If probably in the next say 10 years some information retrieval system has to come, then what are the things you can propose? So here the idea is, yeah, so you are free to propose any information retrieval system, and it is not necessarily has to be realistic. I mean, it could be probably something very ambitious goal you can think of, and it's more like we would like to see how you put novelty and the imagination of proposing any information retrieval system. So the idea is no two groups can use the same system. So that's why, I mean, again, it's better to just write down what kind of presentation that you are going to have. And regarding the more details, the you need to have probably just 5-6 slides, not more than that, because you don't have more than 10 minutes. So one slide should be on just define the problem statement very clearly, right? So, and like what problem you are going to solve using your information retrieval system. So for example, very simple could be, so like retrieve movie from the movie database that you have. So that is the problem statement, and probably you can add more details what kind of input you can give, right? So that is more about how you can clearly define what problem you're solving, right? So the closest existing system from where you got the motivation to build the proposed IR system, right? And also please highlight the limitation of such system where you got motivation from. The reason being, often you propose any system, right? You always get people always get some idea from some existing system, right? Sometimes it might be for the same problem. Sometimes if it is not in the same area, then probably you do some kind of analogy, right? You do some kind of analogy to probably apply the some familiar concept probably in some other domains in the problem at hand, that is something probably not very much familiar. So the idea is, yeah, so just you need to mention what is the closest existing system you can think of. So for example, we were talking about movie, right? Movie recommendation. So in case of movie recommendation, probably the closest existing system could be probably IMDb movie recommendation system, right? Or something like that. And you can probably highlight what are the limitations of the system. So probably the current system mainly focuses on, say, for example, uh, only probably retrieve by the movie name or probably the actor or probably some of the genre. So what are the other novelty you can think of? Again, you are free to choose anything. You are free to apply your imagination. What are the other things you can add to in order to improve the whole IR system experience? So that is what novelty you are adding. So 1 marks for that, and 1 marks, uh, half marks for, I mean, whatever the novelty you are proposing or not proposing. It's more like thinking. Suppose you said, okay, so you will retrieve the movie based on your senses, based on your just thinking thought or whatever, right? So, or probably based on your Twitter experience, I mean the tweet experience, social media, you can say the activity, something like that, right? So based on that, so what do you think? I mean, what can you probably achieve in, say, 1 year, 5 year, or probably in 10 years? So again, I mean, there may not be only one solution to this, but just again, we want to see how you think about it, how you think about taking the system in the next probably 10 years. Finally, the presentation clarity. So yeah, so whatever the presentation you are giving, it shouldn't be just like you're coming and doing nothing, right? So you need to probably present very clearly. So the idea is that we will be very happy to give you full marks in all. Just we want you to probably apply your thoughts, discuss among yourself in the group, and present. And we'll be very happy to probably give you all the marks for that. So any questions till here for the group presentation? So regarding the group presentation schedule, let me show. So if you look at this, yeah, so the dates are now already mentioned there. So please check when your presentation is scheduled, right? So just check the date, and we will be starting the presentation from next week onwards. That is from next Tuesday. So please check. So for example, let me see who will be presenting next week. So we have this group. So do we have anyone from this group? Anyone from this group? Yeah, okay. So Divisha and probably other group members. So you will be the first group who will be presenting on next Tuesday, I guess. So yeah, just write anything, whatever the presentation title we have. So I have tried to basically give a very detailed information what are the slides should be, right? So rest is up to you. What problem statement you are going to use for the presentation. Good thing is that yeah, so you can choose anything, right? Because you are the first one. So you have a lot of plenty of options. So yeah, go ahead and uh, give your presentation. Any questions from you, Divisha, and probably others?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I believe the group presentation is clear. So yeah, the marks is not too much, just 3 marks, and all marks are very easy to get it. Only thing we want you to just think about it. What if you have to build some information retrieval system? What you can propose? Try to look at the problems around you and try to propose a solution for that. Not solution, it's more like, yeah, so solution in terms of just you do not need to think about technicality how to implement. So we don't want to bother on that. Just propose something. Just propose probably some novel solution, or uh, which basically encourage or probably motivate others to what if they want to provide solution for that, and this is their headache how they are going to utilize the different information that you are referring. Sorry. Similarly, yeah, so you can see, I mean, other groups who are presenting, I guess, this particular group, and so on. Yeah, so one more thing, the group, whenever you have been given any group activities, the group will remain the same. If you still have to change the group because I got one request for changing the group, I'm perfectly fine, but no group change request will be accepted once the group activity started. So the group's activity started, the first deadline is on 16th of February, uh, as well as not only for presentation, but also for the project proposal that you have to submit, right? So once it is done, we will not allow you to change the group. So if you still want to change the group, I mean, yeah, so please do before the project proposal deadline and before the presentation. And yeah, so that is about the group presentation. So you can write the topics here, which present topic you are going to present, and that's it.
Oh, sir, I have a question.
Yes, could you be loud?
Yeah, yeah. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, actually, I had this question last week only, but since you left the meeting, I couldn't ask you. So
Mhm,
the question that I have here is now that I like when we were deciding our project from our group, we
mhm,
came across many sample projects which you provided, and in certain projects we saw that there are some actual ML models which we have different matrices for evaluating the performance of that model in terms of output. But in case of certain things, the output is in the form of a sentence or something like using LSTM or something like question banks or something that were created. So my question is, if the project is something related to that kind of an output generation system, like a
mhm,
question bank or a quiz answer or something like that, how are
mhm.
those projects evaluated later? I mean, in terms of the evaluation part, how they are evaluated?
So if the output generated is more like subjective, right? The way you are
Yes,
referring.
yes,
So if it is subjective, then I mean you'll have to look for the subjective evaluation. So that could be probably survey. One could be, right. Similarly, other thing could be uh, how close is this to suppose uh, for given this question or something. You probably annotate the sum of the answer, not for all, but sum of the answers, and see how the generated output is closer to the or probably similar to the one you are generating, right? So yeah, you need to probably come up firstly, because in case of subjective evaluation, definitely, I mean, subjective evaluation need to be done. So that could be in terms of survey form or something. And second thing, I mean, how you can basically uh, semi evaluate it. It's more like probably generating some of the ground truth by yourself and see how close or similar to that the generated output. Did this answer your question?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Ah, okay, good. So I believe there is no questions on the group presentation at the moment. Is there any?
So could we like also come up with like something of a novel research proposal, like also a fundamental system that might be useful in solving like a lot of applications.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. I mean, as I said, I mean, you don't have any limitation here. I
okay,
mean, you are free to choose anything. You are free to choose anything as long as it is related to IR. And the best part, you do not need to worry about its implementation, or you do not need to worry about its feasibility. Actually, you can say feasibility in a sense, whether it's a possible or not. I mean, that's fine. I mean, so that I mean it's more about, I mean, yeah, so I want you to think more about what are the different IR system could be. And once you look at the presentation of others, you will also get a lot of idea what are the different, I mean, what are the different kind of system you can build later on if you have to. Similarly, how can you use these ideas for the different, say for example, research problem that you will be working on later on. So yeah, so and it will not only be limited to, you can say, the grades or probably the project and so on, but that will also basically help you to expand your knowledge, because in everyday's lives we are always doing some kind of information retrieval, right? Whether retrieving, say, some message, retrieving some data, retrieving some any details and so on, right? Okay, any?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yeah, Dharmen.
yeah, this is same as our project presentation, or sir, we have to choose any other topic for that?
you are
this presentation.
no, the thing is, it need not necessarily has to be a course project. The limitation with the course project is that it has to be feasible, right? It has to be probably well evaluated. I mean, and so in that case, your novelty will be limited by the feasibility of implementation, right? Because there you cannot propose something which you cannot implement. So here, I mean, you are free. You can also take the probably the course project that you are having, but you will have to expand more. I mean, probably adding different dimension to that, how you can basically just propose something very novel out of this. Again, you do not need to bother about its feasibility, its implementation. It's a more about how you can probably come up with some kind of novel IR system, right? So in short, yeah, you can take your course project that you are having, but you are also free to choose any other thing, right? If you're choosing your course project, then yeah, so it won't be limited to the your existing course project. You need to add different dimensionality or probably novelty to that, and you are free, you are do not need to worry about its implementation.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Dharmen. Any other questions? Okay, so we will be starting this presentation from next week. So please, you'll have some time to prepare for this, and it won't take much time actually, because just need probably a couple of hours of brainstorming, because you don't need to implement it. You don't need to make so many slides. Just 4 or 5 slides would be enough, right? Yeah. Regarding project proposal, since it is due on 16 February, so as I just said, you are not allowed to change the group after 16 February. If you have to do, please do it before that, and you are not allowed to change after that, because all the group exercise and group work requires the same group, whether it's a presentation, whether it's a project proposal, or any kind of assignment, group assignment. And project proposal, again, as you already know, this is just 2 marks, and we'll be very happy to give, I mean, all 2 marks to everyone. Just you have to probably explain all this stuff very clearly. So there we are expecting mainly two topics here, two details here. So one is the problem statement, and your problem formulation and the statement should include the motivation of this work, why you are solving this problem, what kind of benefit you are providing to the community by solving this problem. And second is the literature review. Uh, what are the work has already been done, and you need to also highlight what are the limitation these work have, right? So again, we don't we don't have any upper cap on this number. You can basically have as exhaustive list as you can. It's good to have, but we expecting at least keep at least minimum 5. So we just have, so regarding the template, Pragya, our TA, will be sharing a template, latex template with you. So we want you to prepare your project proposal in the shared latex template, and then probably submit to Google Classroom by the given deadline. So any questions here for the project proposal?
Now, in the problem formulation, do we also have to like include our approach as in the technical details?
No. So problem formulation is, again, probably I can write not problem formulation, but the more problem statement, right? Okay, so problem statement is more, yeah, so what problem you are solving, probably what kind of input and output your system will have, right? And probably how this system can probably help the society, or probably the target user. So kind of some motivation, yeah, like why do you need such kind of system? Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. Any other questions here on the project proposal part?
Sir, for this also presentation will be there, or we have to submit only the proposal?
Could you repeat? Could you be loud?
Sir, for this also we will have to give presentation, or we just have to submit on the classroom?
No. Project proposal don't need presentation. I mean, you just have to submit. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, for the presentation, do all the group members have to present, or a single person could present?
No, it's a
the
group
slides?
activity, right? It's a group
Okay.
activity. So we want probably everyone to say something. For example, we have five. For example, we have 5 slides, right? As I said, there are 5 different things you have to discuss. Just probably one person can discuss one thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So ideally, and just it's good for you as well, right? You will be speaking in front of 200 people. So it's also good for you to probably improve your presentation skills. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let me write, otherwise I forgot. So if there are some kind of circumstances, I mean, through which some people are not available, in that case it's fine. But yeah, we expect everyone to present. Any other questions on the project proposal and the presentation? Okay, so Pragya will be sharing more details on this on Google Classroom, so you can follow that from there. And if you have any further question, just please comment or probably ask her. So regarding quiz, we will be having individual quiz. It's not a group quiz. So the quiz will be on the next Thursday. So that is still have 10 days time also. So it will be on next Thursday, February 18, and it will be in the beginning of the class. It will be 30-minute quiz, open book, and syllabus, whatever we are going to cover till today. So most of the questions will be MCQs, and we will discuss if probably we need to add one subjective question or not. But most of the questions will be MCQs.
So it will be Google Form based?
Yeah, I think it will be Google Form based. We are trying to figure out what could be the other platform we can use. Do you have any suggestion? Or can you share probably other platform which probably other classes are using, which you think is easier for us, or probably conduct a fair exam? Anyone?
Sir, I think Google Classroom is fine.
Okay, Google Form is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is there any other tool or something which any other class is using, if you are aware of?
So mostly Google Classroom is always used for other classes also.
Okay. Okay, then probably we'll follow the same, at least for MCQs. And if we don't have probably good experience, then probably we'll have to switch to something else. But definitely we can get started with Google Classroom. Okay. Are there any questions in the chat box? What can be the tentative dates for the midsem? I think it is fixed, right? So tentative dates for the midsem is somewhere in the first week of March, if I'm not wrong, because that is already fixed in the academic calendar. So it will be, yeah, so 1 to 9 March, somewhere in that. Okay, so is there any questions for this? So I believe not. Then let's go ahead then. So in the earlier lectures, we have discussed about index construction. So we have discussed about sort-based indexing, because why we have needed this, because probably we wanted to make scalable scalable indexing. So that's why we discussed with firstly the naive in-memory inversion. The problem is it is not scalable. Then probably we have discussed block sort-based indexing technique, which is basically based on the merge sort and is effective for hard disk and hard disk based sorting. So it basically help in reducing the seek time that we have discussed. So there were some limitations. So that's why we have proposed single pass in memory indexing. Anybody recall why we have proposed this single pass in memory indexing as compared to the block based? Anyone recall?
So in block based, like we'll need to maintain an additional data structure to map terms to term indices. So that
Right.
is one thing we are bypassing. And other thing is like the postings list is dynamic.
Right.
So that offers a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, so that's why I mean probably if you also recall, so the if the dictionary size is very big, it is not possible for you to hold that in memory. That's why probably you need to have single pass in memory indexing where you have no global dictionary, but in fact different block will have their separate dictionary. So that we have discussed, and you don't sort postings. So these are the benefits. Then we have discussed the distributed indexing using MapReduce. We have shown that the benefit of using MapReduce in probably dealing with a World Wide Web data when it is very large and probably fairly distributed. In that case, distributed indexing is useful. Most of all these indexing technique assume that your data is not going to change, it is static, but this is not true, right? In that case, we have discussed that we probably need to come up with a dynamic indexing, and the dynamic indexing basically help you finally to deal with that. So for that, we have discussed the multiple indices and the logarithmic merge. So let's quickly discuss the dynamic indexing again. So though we have covered in the last class, so what we have done in dynamic indexing. So up to now, we have assumed that the collections are static, right? But as you know, this is not true, especially in the like when you have the data like World Wide Web or probably the social media or probably something like that, which keep changing, keep generating new data. So that is, they rarely are the documents come in over time and need to be inserted, or probably the documents are deleted or modified. So this means that the modif that is the dictionary and the posting lists has to be modified over the time. So that is the posting updates for terms already in the dictionary. If the terms is already available, in that case, the corresponding postings and the posting list that you have need to be updated based on these modification which had happened. And if the suppose new documents are added and probably the terms which is newly added which was not there, in that case you need to add this to the dictionary and the new posting list need to be created. So one of the simplest approaches that we discussed in last class, so we simply have one big main index, right? So and then probably for new documents we simply have the auxiliary small indices. So in that case you simply have to probably search among between both main indexes and accordingly simply need to merge the results. And for the deletion, if you recall, we discussed about we can have invalidation bit vector for the deleted documents, and we can filter documents output on a search result by invalidation bit vector. And we periodically re-index into the one main index. So that is different auxiliary indexing that you have. You can merge with, or probably re-index with the main index that you have. So how periodically we need to do so, and how periodically is good enough? What do you think? Anyone? Venkatesh, what do you think? How periodic should be good for re-indexing?
When the auxiliary index becomes full.
Exactly. So when the auxiliary index become full, in that case, yeah, so you need to probably think of some way of probably merging or probably cleaning the auxiliary index and so on, right? So issue with the main and auxiliary indexes, so problem are frequent merges, because whenever the auxiliary index fill, you need to, yeah, so you need to merge. So it means you touch stuff a lot, or probably you need to do a lot of merging, and that basically lead to the poor performing during the merge, right? And as you know, especially in the social media data, or probably the World Wide Web, the number of data, number of documents which are changing, adding, and so on, are changing very frequently. So many times, I mean, your auxiliary index will fail, and that will be an issue in terms of performance. So actually, so merging of the auxiliary index into the main index is efficient if we keep separate file for each posting. And why it will be efficient? Anyone? So if we have separate file for each index, how this is going to basically
Sir, we can parallelize maybe one thing, and like also we can like merge it in chunks.
exactly, yeah, because they are just files, right? And since these are different files, you simply concatenate each file by each other, right? Because each file correspond to the each posting list, so you simply have to concatenate each other. It's more like there are two files for the same thing, probably one for auxiliary, one for the main. You simply have to append them. Simply, yeah, so simply have to basically merging is same as simple appending. But then we need a lot of files, right? So for example, if we are going to have one file for each posting list, right? So, and each posting list correspond to one term, right? Given that the World Wide Web or probably is very large corpora has huge amount of huge number of probably such terms, right? So in that case, having that many files is infeasible or probably inefficient for operating system to deal with. Because as we have discussed in the previous class, right? Suppose you have two 1 GB file, not 2 GB, two 1 GB folder or something, right? So one is 1 GB file and one is the probably 1 GB folder with say 1 million documents. The file which is just 1 GB will take much less time as compared to the 1 million file, though even though the accumulative sum is same. Because I mean the file operations are very time taking, right? So that's why it is inefficient for the operating system to deal with that. So that's why probably we need to come up with probably other solution. So another extreme solution could be you simply just have one file, you simply just have one index file, and that basically having all posting list that we have. So especially in this book, I mean this assumption has been followed. So there is only one index file, and that has basically all the posting list. So in reality, the use of scheme somewhere in between split very large posting list and collect the posting list of length 1 in one file and so on. So yeah, so in reality, so neither of them has been used. So they use kind of some kind of hybrid solution for this. So one of the major issue with such kind of scheme is that I mean the merge is going to take much time, right? Because then how many merge will be here in this case? So the merge here will be the merge here will be, let me show the next slide. So in this case, the the number of merge will be t by n, where t is the number of postings and n is the size of auxiliary index. So just you can think of these many number of chunks you have, and you have to merge them, right? So that is overall index construction time will be order of t square n. So which is in the worst case because each posting is touched by t by n times, because that is in every merging that you are having. Each posting will be touched in every merging that you're having. So can we reduce this number of merges that we are having? Because and because if it is order of t square n, so that is kind of inefficient. So how we can make it efficient? So instead of t by n merges, so here n is the again so size of auxiliary index that we have, right? So if we can reduce this number of merges, so at least we will be able to reduce this order n square to somewhere in the like t log n, see t log t by n, right? So how you can do so? So here basically what author researchers has proposed. So they have proposed a kind of, rather than having um, these many merges, what you can do, you can index, you can basically the group different indexes into one group, or you can say the one cluster. So this is what they have done, and how they have done, let me show here. So they maintain a kind of series of indexes, each twice as large as the previous one. The reason being they keep twice every time. If you recall the idea that we have discussed, every time when you allocate the memory, you just increase by twice. So that is a very popular strategy people follow. So in this case, you can also reduce the number of merges that you are having by order of t by n to order of log t by n. So in this case, what you do at any time, some of these powers of 2 are instantiated. So in the beginning, so just keep the smallest z0 in the memory. Z0 is the auxiliary in memory index that you have. So until it is kind of empty or kind of not fully filled, so you just keep using this for auxiliary indexing. So you simply have to look into two indexes. One is the main index, one is this auxiliary index. So what if this fills? So what people have done, so they create a number of larger indexes on the disk. So in that case, earlier you only looking into two indexes. One is the auxiliary index and the main index. So now you will be looking into probably more than one indexes now. So one is the main index, auxiliary index, and probably some of the other indexes that you will be storing on the disk. So what will be the benefit and what will be the drawback of this? Anyone? If we will be storing more than one indices now and the also storing on the disk. Any guess? Any?
So like
Levitt.
if the dynamic thing like gets unbounded, then we'll have a lot of disk writes, which adds to the like the latency, and I mean it brings down the overall performance of the program. So
Right.
that is one drawback.
And what is the benefit?
Maybe merging will take less because we have reduced it.
Sorry, Kapil, could you repeat?
So it will help in merging, like
Exactly.
as an advantage.
Exactly. So because here the number of merges has been reduced, so both of you are right. So Venkat, as you rightly mentioned, so now the latency will increase because now you'll have to probably do slightly more disk seeds as compared to the earlier, and probably you need to
So
look
could
into
you
more.
explain how the merges have reduced? Because so whenever Z0 will get filled, we will have to merge, right?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Okay. So how it has reduced? So earlier, for every one merge, I mean, there were one posting need to be touched. So here, let me show how the number of merges has been reduced. So what they have done, so to start with, they just keeps Z0 in the memory, that is the auxiliary index. So once it is filled, right? So once it is filled, you simply that is greater than n, which is the auxiliary size index. So if it is greater than that, you just simply write that to the disk. So that is I0. If it is exist, then just simply merge it. If it is not there, then you simply create it. So here, let me show you here. So every time, so when you have less than n, so it means only the Z0 is there, right? So once probably you have more than n, so that is you reach to the n, it write to the disk with index I0. So in that case, now once you write to I0, kind of Z0 is free now, right? Because you cleared it. So any additional thing will be keep coming to Z0, and I0 is the one of the index you have. So in this way, when the this get filled again, so every time if you see here, now the index size is increasing rather than n. Now it is increasing in the multiple of 2s. So now the each index, each levels that you have is in the power of 2. That's why, I mean, now instead of number of t by n, the t is the posting size, n is the number of auxiliary size you have, the overall coverage will be very similar to the way you create the binary tree or something, right? The number of elements will be covered by this in the power of 2s. So overall overall indexes that you deal with, that is for the merging, will be log of this, because you are increasing the number of indices, I mean the elements, terms in the index by in the 2's power. So similarly, if you go next, so once Z is full again, Z0 that is in memory is full again, you merge these two again. So here it is n, now it has become 2n. So similarly, now I1 is of size 2n, and Z0 is again always of size n, right? So in this case, I mean,
So, but like, yeah, that was my question. Z0 will be filled T by n times only, right? If we have T modifications
no,
and
but
the size
you
of
are
Z0 is
no,
n.
So here basically you are not merging every time, na? So despite Z0 is filled n every time, but you merge only when it is filled in multiple of 2's. In that case, you hold the temporary Z, right? So if you see here, so you need to have the Z1, Z2, the temporary storage of the indexes before merging, before writing to the disk. So in this way, basically you can reduce the number of merges, right? So because here every time you are storing in the power of 2, na? So like in this case, I0, I1, and that is why there is, if you look at the algorithm here, so Zi plus 1 is temporarily indexed on the disk, and you go next only if probably it is filled in the power of 2. So because there are two cases, right? One is whether it is already exist, like in this case, if I is already available in the index that you have, right? So in that case, you simply merge it and you keep merging it until it reaches to the power of 2. If not, then you just simply create it, or create and write to the file. And once it is written to the file, you will create the next index. And every time this index size is increased by the power of 2. So earlier, basically, if I think is mentioned here, if not, yeah, so every time earlier, so you need to do merges for all T by n that you're doing earlier. T is that is the posting size. But now you will be doing that merges only at the different, you can say the layer of different levels of the tree. So it's because this is more like a tree, right? So here basically now you will be doing merges at different layers of you can say the levels of the tree. That is probably once here, then it's probably, I mean the once here, then it's probably once here, and then once here. Because if you see here, the I1 is added again and again until it reaches to the size of 4n. Similarly, the I3, once it's come, you need to keep adding to I2 until it reaches to the size of 8. Is this clear, Usin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then thanks. So in this way, I mean, if you see, as Kapil has mentioned earlier, so earlier, basically we having only probably 2 merging, but now the number of indexes has been increased. So now you need to do a merging of order of log Tn. So that basically increase the query processing time, as Venkatesh mentioned. So that is the benefit and the drawback. So you are making efficient merging, but probably increase in the query processing time. So that is the pros and cons for logarithmic merge. So what are the further issues with multiple indices? So like collection wide statistics are hard to maintain because if you're going to have too many indices, right, it is difficult to maintain because you need to have indices, and then you need to also deal with how the index is creating, how manage the logarithmic merging that you are doing. A lot of write on the disk is required whenever you're doing merging, and so on. So that's why often, despite it's come up with some benefit, it also come with the challenges. And so that is why, so we want to pick up one of the most hits. How do we maintain the top ones and with the multiple indexes and invalidate bit vectors? And one possibility, like ignore anything but the main index for the search ordering. So in this way, basically, because later on, once we dealing with the spelling correction, you need to have several alternatives to be present for the user. So for example, you need to support wildcard. You need to support the wildcard search for the different query that you have. So, and why do you need to do wildcard search? Because often, when you're writing some query, often you don't know probably the correct spelling, and often you by mistake probably write the wrong spelling. In that case, some spell correction is required, or probably your index should be support such mistakes in the spelling, so that you can, despite you have written the probably the wrong spelling, you end up with probably the correct documents. So dynamic indexing at the search engine. So at last, search engine now do the dynamic indexing because they are need in such a way they have very frequent and probably new data at very frequent time, right? So that is why they don't have any other option than supporting dynamic indexing. So their index have very frequent incremental changes in terms of news items, blogs, new topical web pages, and so on. And sometimes, and they are basically periodically reconstruct the index from the scratch. The reason being, they create the uh, reconstruct the index from the scratch, because if they only going to update if they are going to update um, the indices that you have, so often the auxiliary indexes that you have is keep filling very frequently, right? And as you have seen that the merging is also takes a significant time if the number of such auxiliary index filled very frequently, and if the size of auxiliary overall the auxiliary index is quite high as compared to probably I mean, or you can say not high, but comparable to the actual main index that you have. So it is probably more efficient to simply create a new one and probably the throw away the old one, right? So but again, that comes with the challenge. When you creating new index, you cannot throw away the existing or probably the old index, because you keep need to support the existing query by the user, right? Because you cannot stop the current system that you have in order to create new index. So that's why that requires additional computational resources, like in one hand keeping the existing index that you have, old index that you have, and create the new one, and that need to be done also very fast, so that you don't provide the probably the stale information to user, but probably the accurate information to the user. So in case of real-time search of Twitter, so the requirement is, since it's a real time, it need to be low latency, it need to be high throughput query evaluation, and high ingestion rate, and immediate data availability should be there, concurrent reads and write of the index, because the data like even one person keep generating tweets like uh, very frequently. So for example, one person may create probably 10 tweets in a day, and some people might be even write more, or there is some bot which is keep writing, I mean, there's some tweets every minute or something, right? So in order to support all those requirements, we need to consider the temporal signal as well, while creating the real-time search, supporting the real-time search at Twitter and probably similar companies. So just give us statistics. So early bird consists of multiple index segment. So despite this, holding is 2.23 tweets, but this may not be probably enough. So each posting in a segment is 32-bit word. So first 24 bits for the tweet ID that you have, and 8-bit for the position in the tweets. And only one segment can be written to at a given time, and small enough to be in memory and new. So if you see here, I mean, you need to you need to organize your index in such a way that you need to support all the newest tweet first, and the remaining segments are kind of optimized for the read only. Sorry. What are the other sort of indexes? So positional indexes are there. So building character n-gram indexes are there. So as we basically the pass the text, we enumerate different n-grams, because often when you are creating the index, often you don't write full sentence, but probably the just part of it. And this building character n-gram based indexes also help you in dealing with the spelling mistakes, or probably supporting the wildcard searches. So in this way, I mean, especially in kind of when you deal with huge amount of web data, or probably the social media data, it is useful to have the n-gram based indexes as well, and that you can basically create while doing the parsing the text. So most of the content for this particular chapter is from chapter 4 of the book we have shared, and some of the details from this particular the paper, the MapReduce and SPIMI, and slight details has taken also from the MG chapter 5. So if for further details, I request you to probably at least have a look on these chapters. If still some details are required, we can discuss in the tutorial session as well, and probably we can discuss in the class if required. So any questions here? Okay, so if not, then let me start the next chapter. I just want to probably briefly discuss its overview, and probably we'll discuss more details in the next class. So the idea is the wildcard queries and the spelling correction. And why do we need to support the wildcard queries and spelling correction? Anyone? Especially in case of information retrieval.
So to support like more flexibility in search, like we can't expect users to, I mean, we one more layer of abstraction rather than having the user to specify a very precise query.
Very nice. Yeah, so and this precise query often is not possible for all user, right? And first time, I mean, many times due to choice, and many times due to the limitation of the person, right? And probably many times due to the lack of knowledge of the person as well. Any other points from anyone? Okay, so I believe Venkatesh has covered
So,
most of them. Yeah, please, who is there?
yes, sir. Kapil. So maybe like because the like different spellings, which is not intended to our context, may lead to different search results. So that's why we need correct spelling correction. Like
Yeah,
we need correct spelling, otherwise different results can be obtained.
right. Yeah, absolutely right. So, so given that you consider the requirement for wildcard queries and probably wildcard searches, yeah, so let's probably go into slight more details. So wildcard, as probably the name, it's cleared. So uh, often basically the input is kind of part of the query, and they expect you to probably fill the rest of it. So for example, if the query is MON star, right? So in that case, we are expecting all the words in the any documents, right, containing or probably starting with mon, and after that it could be filled by anything. So it could be like Monday, monkey, or anything else, right? So what is the best way? What is the easier way to retrieve such document, right? So you might have studied binary tree in your ADA classes, right? So do you think the binary tree can help you in determining such kind of dealing with such kind of query? Anyone? So do you think the binary tree B tree can help you here, retrieving all the words starting with this and probably ending with, not ending, but probably with in between these words? And if so, then how they can provide? Yeah, who's there? Wish.
So we can save in a chronological order in a binary tree. Indexing can be like for A, the first index would be A, and then other words. In the next level, we can start with AB. In the next
Exactly.
level,
So in the binary tree, we store the information like that only, right? So you here basically you have the root, you have the probably I mean the node on the left and on the right, right? So the root is such a way that is probably all the words, probably all the words that you are going to support through binary tree will be on the left of that. That is like in this case, I mean, for example, if we are having MON, right? And probably this is MOO. So is this clear to you? So like first two is fine, right? And we are segregating, or probably we are dividing the binary tree based on whether the next character is N or O, right? So that is anything N or less than a N. So like if it is like N or probably less character as compared to N, like A, B, C, D, F, G, H, and so on. So it will be probably on the left side of this tree. And anything which is beyond O, right, P, Q, R, and so on, will be on the right side. So you can see, or probably you can clearly find the path for searching the particular word through the binary tree. So in this way, you can probably support the wildcard queries for a given wildcard queries that you have. So this was easier, right? I mean, because you simply have to go the binary tree and find this. But what about this query? Firstly, what does this indicate? So this one indicates any word starting from mon, right? And this one is any word ending with mon. So do you think they are equally easy to determine, or which one is hard to determine?
Sir, the second one is hard to determine because, we are not confirmed about the route from which route we have to search. So, sir, we'll have to search each and every branch and then confirm if it's ending with MON or not.
Right. So like in this case, you can go like top to bottom, right? Which is easier to follow. But in this case, it is kind of you need to go reverse, right?
So by using extra memory, we can do it with the same complexity. Like if we store every word in the reverse direction also in the binary tree, then we can start from searching from N as the root and then.
Right. Right. But in that case, yeah, as you rightly mentioned, yeah, you need to use extra memory, right? So in a way, I mean, in order to deal with such kind of thing, such kind of wildcard entries, so one possibility could be you use B tree, and you can also use reverse B tree, right? So if you use B tree and reverse B tree, I mean, in this way, you can deal with this case. So like in this case, maintain an additional B tree, as you mentioned, for the terms backward, and so that we can retrieve all words in the range of whatever the query you have, right? Like norm and non. So from this, we can can we enumerate all terms meeting the wildcard query pro asterisk sent, right? And if we can do, then what are the issues do you think will be there? So like for this part, you need to use the B tree, and probably for this part, you need to use the reverse B tree. And then after that, what will be the next step? Suppose you have to find the document for this query. So how you are going to deal with this? So one is I mean, any word starting from pro and any word ending with cent, you get some list of document through this, you get some list of document through this. What will be the next step?
We'll take the
finding
intersection.
intersection.
You need to find intersection, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So once you find the intersection, that will be the answer to this particular query. So it's query processing, as you rightly mentioned. At this point, we need to have enumeration of all terms in the dictionary that matches the wildcard query. We still have to look at the posting for each enumerated list. So consider this in this case. So this may result in the execution of Bailey. So like in this case, there is only one Boolean query which is required, right? So one is like all the document that you are having for this pro star, and then probably all the document for another query like star sent. So that is only simply have to consider one Boolean intersection and you'll get it. In this case, how many Boolean queries are required? Any guess? Will it depend on something?
So a doubt in the previous one query that we were talking about, the percent. Yeah. So the star says that there can be any number of characters, right? So sir, these can be two separate words also, no?
No, but here at the same time we are also writing this, right? So here basically we are.
So star does not contain space. Does not
Star?
include space. The star does not include space.
I think it's an interesting question, right? So I believe not. They are expecting probably the complete or probably some letter or probably a sequence of letters.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you have to include space as well, probably you need to define it separately. But I believe at least in this case, yeah. So we are only considering the characters, list of characters.
Okay, sir.
So I hope you can see here. So this may result in the execution of many Boolean queries, right? So for example, once you probably just have fix one of these and you consider all this possibility. Similarly, probably you each one of this you may have the different variation of all those. In this way, you end up with a huge number of queries, and that you will have to deal with. So in that case, what could be the other solution to deal with? I mean, these many very high number of Boolean queries. So B trees basically handle stars that is the wildcard at the end of a query. So how we can handle the wildcard in the middle of the query term? So like in this case, so as we have just discussed, so we could take up like co star, like anything starting from co and anything ending with TION in a B tree. So basically you have two B trees. So in this way you can do simply the intersection. So that is a bit expensive process, and this will be even expensive if you have queries like this, right? So one solution could be so transform wildcard queries so that this always occur at the end, because as you have seen here, right? So this one is more efficient as compared to this one, right? So if you transform all the queries that you have, in which the wildcard always comes in the last, right? So that you don't have to bother about the reverse B tree that you need to deal with, only probably the just B tree. In that case, it will be more efficient, and you don't have to do any binary operation here, any Boolean queries. So to do that, there is a kind of concept called permuterm index has been proposed. So in the idea in this case is that they try to basically this move this wildcard in the end of the character sequence that you have, and so that you can just use B tree and get the answer. You don't have to basically do the intersection of all those. So the idea is add a kind of dollar term to the end of the each term and rotate the resulting term and corresponding index term in a B tree. So for example, in this case, you have hello as an index hello, and how the hello will be now saved in the indexes. So basically you'll have the all these will correspond to the hello. So whether it's a hello individual dollar, or probably you simply move this to the letter, it's more like rotating it. So like this hello has been moved to here, and there is always a dollar symbol which signifies like this is the end of this particular word. Similarly, I mean, you may also move E, you may also move L, the second L and O as well. So in this way, using the permuterm index, you can basically map all these possibilities using this dollar as a special symbol to this hello. So in this way, you can always move the star from mid of the word probably to the end. But what will be the issue in this case? Any guess?
Memory requirement would be more because we need to index all the combinations.
Exactly. So consider this like, I mean, because just for this, in this case, a five character word, I mean, you need to consider these many number of possible indexes which probably correspond to that, right? So that is empirically dictionary increase very significantly. So like in this case, it might be the dictionary will be increased by approx 10 times. Yeah, who's there? Any questions? I guess someone is there. Okay, if not, then yeah, so how basically you need to move this, because as we have said, we can rotate and do the corresponding mapping here, right? So how we can rotate so that the wildcard character like this one move to the last. So simply you have to do this, right? Suppose you simply have X, so lookup will be on X dollar. So you simply have to look up on that in the mapping that you have. So like in this case for hello, it will be, this will be search for hello. If it is already in the last, you don't have to worry about it, right? You don't have to worry about it. Simply if you add dollar in the last, you can move it, or probably after rotating you will get this. How about this? What you'll get it? Will you get this? Because once you add dollar, which is always in the end, you can add here like dollar X dollar, sorry, star X dollar. After that, as I said, I mean, you need to rotate it so that, and you need to keep rotating it until you get this star in the end. So once you rotate it, so this has been 2, it will look for X dollar S star. So simply you need to look for, like in this case, suppose it was hello. So it will be looking for this particular thing, and you can basically simply look for this. Similarly, if it is this, you simply have to look for, because it is the same thing, right? If you have both star on both sides, simply look for the last one, because it's give us the flexibility for searching anything. Simply if it is in between, so you have to just add dollar here and move this X once, and then again start to the right. In this way, you can probably keep looking for that. So the idea is we don't want to probably look for the reverse binary tree. We want to keep it in such a way that always look for only the word starting from something. And since you already have this lookup mapping in your previous indexing that you have done, you can probably find out. How about to deal with the third one? Because here you have more than one wildcard. How you can deal with this? Any guess? Any guess how we can deal with when you have this? So are you agree with this? We can treat this as a X wildcard Z, because in between it could be anything. And further post filter by if see there is a y in between. So like in this case, for H, wildcard A, wildcard O, just treat it by H wildcard O by looking up. If you just move here, just add dollar here and move H, then star. So that is O dollar H and star, and you get all the result. And simply post filter by if it has A in between. So like in this case, this will be post filter because there is no A in between this H and O, but halo has. In that case, this will be retained and this will be simply post filter. So if you have more than probably one wild star, in that case, you can treat it like this and perform the post filtering. Is it clear?
So how this post filter will be done then?
Sorry?
So how this post filtering will be done after just fetching this X star, X star, G star?
So post filtering is done by just simply looking at what is the middle term here, right? You look for the middle term in between because you know the index of the what are all the terms that you're having, right? So you have like in this case, once you get all the possible terms, once you get all possible terms starting from H and ending with O, in between it could be anything. So you simply have to search in between, and that you can implement in many ways, right? I mean, it is up to you how you implement it, because simply or probably you have to look up in between, or you can say you need to look up in the substring between the starting and the ending of the character sequence that you have. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So another possibility could be, because what are the drawback or probably the issue you can think about in this case? So one of the issue that you think about is definitely the index size will kind of drastically increase. The dictionary size that you have will drastically increase. So one possibility could be, one solution could be, how about we create indexing from k-gram, n-gram. So for example, bigram in this case, right? So just you enumerate all k grams, sequence of k characters, and occurring in any term. So for example, in this case, the text is April is the cruelest month. We get the 2 bigrams that you can generate from this. So in this case, you add dollar both in the beginning and the end of the sentence or the text. So like in this case, you have added $A, that is starting from this, and then AP, then PR, then RI, then IL, right? Then space, then it's kind of ended. So in this case, start with is. So again, start with dollar is. Similarly, once the sentence is, the word is ended, you can have. So in this way, you can extract all the bigrams from this given text you have. And here, basically, you have the dollar is a special word boundary symbol, which help you to determine whether the word has just started or whether it is ending. So it maintains a kind of second inverted index from bigram to the dictionary term that matches each bigram. So if now you have more than such bigrams or the k grams with you, how you are going to support through the binary tree? Do you think now the binary tree can support this k gram? Any guess? So by the way, this is the bigram example. So like $M, that is anything starting from M, will be in this list. MO, anything starting from MO will be here. I mean, anything having MO will be here. Anything having ON will be here. All the basically the bigrams. including this will be here. So in this way, you can maintain a kind of list here. And so once you are looking for these words or corresponding documents, you can simply look on these subwords or the k-grams that you have, and that will help you to deal with finding this, you can say, the part of the query instead of full query. So how you can perform the query processing using the wildcard. So once you have the query, like in this case, MON wildcard can be now run as by breaking into the bigrams. So one will be $M. Similarly, you will be having MO. Similarly, the next will be ON, and probably the last one could be even N ending or something, right? But here you don't know what will be the next, so that's why you're not having N ending. So once you have the posting list for all, so like in this case $M, MO, and ON, so you can get all the posting list that you have from here, and you can perform the intersection. So in this way, that gets the term that matches and version of our wildcard query. And in this case, basically, but we will enumerate moon, and the post filter these terms again the query. Suppose surviving enumerated terms are the, and then looked up into the term document inverted index. And finally, the fast space efficient compared to per term. So do you think this will be compared, I mean, the faster than the per term? And if so, then how? When you are going to only have the n grams of the, or representing the query in terms of n gram, how it is fast and probably space efficient? Any guess?
Sir, please repeat the question.
So I'm saying, I mean, when we processing the wildcard using the k grams, like in this case we have MON wildcard. So earlier, how we have discussed how the using the parim term you can perform the query. So like in this case, I'm asking, so if we process the query using the k grams, will it be fast and efficient? If so, then how and why? Okay, so if you look at, so the processing wildcard queries. So as before, we must execute a Boolean query for each enumerated and filtered term, and wildcard can result in expensive query execution. So like in this case, it could be this, but it will basically help or encourage the laziness of the people will respond. So simply, suppose if you're looking for Alexander, you can simply do the Alex star and so on and get the results. So in this way, basically you can deal with the wildcard queries, and you can perform the query processing different ways. So one of the ways we have discussed using bigram or kgram. One way we have discussed is the parim term, and another way we have discussed, I mean, if we perform the query processing using the normal way, simply doing the execution in many Boolean AND queries. So in this major three ways, you can perform the wildcard queries and get the response to your given query. So with this note, I think we can end here, and if you have any questions, we can discuss. If not, then so thank you so much, and we will meet.
Oh, sir, I had one query.
Yeah.
Sir, for the kgram index, like once we form this kgrams, like can we do some kind of like hashing structure that can aid in retrieval? Like would that?
Yeah, we can definitely do. And in fact, probably you will have to do in order to get the corresponding, because here you are doing hashing kind of thing, right? So here, once you determine different kgram, you'll be keeping the hashing or some kind of mapping, where first this will be the key and the value will be the pointer to this particular list. Similarly, this will be the key and the pointer to this particular. So yeah, you will have to keep the hashes in order to determine this.
Yes, so like for similar kgrams, like the postings would anyway be already grouped, like when we create this inverted index itself, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, if not, then probably we end here, and in the next class we'll be discussing about spelling correction. And okay, thank you so much then everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.